made inroads into some of the, at least into some of the smaller congregations in northeast New Mexico, and so let's to be forewarned is also to be forearmed, and that you might say, "Oh yeah, I've heard about that," and here's what the Bible says, and you can read the book of Job or Isaiah, the circle of the earth, things like that, and it's helpful to know that. Now, what you're looking at with Psalm 46, 7, and 8, they're called the Ascension Psalms. Now, there was a festivity, and it's carried over. Carol, when you were in Germany and Austria, were you there in October? Were you there in the fall? Huh? Okay, all right. Well, now in the fall, in the European, some of the agriculture countries at least, there's what's called an Oktoberfest. It's a ingathering. It is a celebration of the end of the crop year and the appreciation for the storehouses being filled and things of that nature. And you probably have seen in certain festivities something like a horn of plenty, showing pumpkins and vegetables and things that are that come off in the early fall, things of that nature. Well, the origin for that, now, unfortunately, that's all got, let's talk about collusion here. That's all been colluded with the All Hallows Eve thing that was brought in because the Catholic Church wanted to bring in and appease those that in the Germanic world and other places. They gave them one day a year, one evening a year to worship, and that's why it's called All Hallows Eve, Halloween, to worship the demonic world. That's what Halloween is. It is a celebration of the demonic world. Well, what happened in the Easter, or rather in Europe, what happened was they incorporated the Oktoberfest. It got incorporated with, in some places, the Halloween thing, or maybe not so much there as it did in the Western Europeans that settled in America, or came as immigrants to America. Then they brought with them the Oktoberfest thing, and we've combined it into All Hallows Eve, or the worship of the devil and his demonic agents on one night or one day a year. We have I don't know why, but there are some people that think that Halloween is some kind of wonderful holiday when it is the observance of worship toward the demonic world. That's why trick or treat thing came about. If you don't give me something, then I'm going to make it hard on you, or I'm going to make it bad on you. That's the pull of that thing. And so little children out doing that do not understand that they're involved in that ancient ritual given to those that worship the demonic world. And so you had the Oktoberfest, or the fall ingathering holiday, and you had that, at least in our part of the world, it has come together into one holiday type of festivity. But in ancient Israel, in the fall, the first of their new year, which is generally their New Year's Day, started sometime, and it moves just like ours does. It's not always on the same Monday or the same Tuesday. You understand it moves in the calendar. Well, theirs, in their calendar, it moved also, but normally it was in the first week of October. All right? So the first week of October is the Jewish New Year. Now the Chinese New Year, or Tet, that's in the first week of February. All right. So you have, and that was made. You remember during the Vietnam War, that was made famous by the Tet offensives. Every year on their New Year's, they tried some special threat. So you have the New Year's festival in ancient Israel, and it's in the first week of October. Now, these songs, as they were going up to celebrate, as they were going up to celebrate that. Doyle, you want to turn them fans off, please? People are getting chilled. If you will, they were celebrating. They were celebrating the ingathering. They were celebrating the cutting of the sheaves, grain crops. They were celebrating the fruit harvest and all that came in the early fall. And they all would collectively, in their going up to Jerusalem, because there's an offering required. Remember that? There's an offering required, and that was to, the first fruits. And the first fruits were the first of the, let me use something, I'll say the first of the peach crop, or the first of the, and they would bring that as an offering before Jehovah. And then the grain was gathered, and they would take the grain from the first cutting, the first round around the field, if you will, with a scythe or sickle bar, and then they would make bread from that, and they would take that, and what was that called? That was the, and I haven't understood it, that was the wave offering. It was the grain offering. Now, Psalm 46, Psalm 47, Psalm 48, these were the songs they sang because they're songs of victory, that God is the people's strength. You see that? They are songs of praise. They are songs of rejoicing. They are songs of gladness, because not only has God defeated their enemies and allowed them to gather their crops, but God also has given them, we used to have to put up things. You remember when you were younger? You remember the canning process, the ladies on the farms? You remember putting up, James, what did your mother can? Everything, yeah. Snails and tails and puppy dog tails, right? About everything that you could get in a jar. And they even canned meat and things of that nature. And they put it up. And then they were able to eat through the winter till the first garden or crop came in. And so that's what you have here. I want you to see the background. It's God among the nations, and the good that God has done, that God helps. God, in Psalm 46, God is the great help, the rescuer. Psalm 47, verse 9, God is greatly exalted. Psalm 48, verse 1, God is praised. And so if you were flipping through their hymn book and you were looking for songs of praise for deliverance and plenty, you'd find Song 46, Psalm 47, and Song 48, if they were in a book like that, all right? So now this particular psalm written early was the victory over Moab and Ammon, over Moab and Ammon, because of their threat to the border of ancient Israel. And so I want you to bear that in mind. It is some have given this psalm some messianic overtone because of the ascension of Jesus. There's been some authors that say that this is also forecasting the victorious ascension of Christ, and that may be, but at the time Jesus ascended, what was the attitude of the disciples? You're not going to get out on that limb, are you? What was the general attitude of the disciples when Jesus ascended up through the clouds? Now, this is important. This is not a foolish question. Huh? They were amazed and they were also perplexed, weren't they? Yeah, all right. So we wouldn't call that a victorious ascension moment, would you? That's the reason I don't think this psalm has to do with the ascension of Christ. I don't think that's so. And the reason I don't is because that wasn't the moment. That wasn't in the air. That wasn't, when you're excited and overjoyed and tremendously happy, that's not what you get out of reading Acts chapter 1. You get more of a perplexity. You get more of a, well, that's over. I guess we'll go back and fish, like Casman said. Well, I guess we'll just go back and fish because it looked like that bright moment is gone. And so in this psalm, it doesn't lend itself, I don't think, in my study of it, it doesn't lend itself to that. The background for this psalm, and we're going to look at it in a minute. Let's look at it. Go to 2 Chronicles 20. All right, let's go to 2 Chronicles 20. And let's look at this. This is Jehoshaphat praying for the help against Moab and Ammon. And so it goes like this. This is the background. You might pencil in your Bible, background for the 47th Psalm. Now, it came to be a song used in the ascension of going up to offer the wave offering, the drink offering, the crop offerings, okay? Things from the crop, the first fruit offerings. Those were offered in their, I'm going to go ahead and say it, their Oktoberfest type of celebration. Just like in Germany, they have that Oktoberfest there. It's not incorporated there in most parts unless it's been Americanized, like around the Air Force bases and stuff, and the Army bases. It's not intermixed with the devil's holiday. And it came to pass after this that the children of Moab and the children of Ammon, and with them some of the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, There cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the sea, from Syria. So this thing is developing. It seems to be a confederacy against Israel, or at least Jehoshaphat and his reign. Okay? So they're coming. And Jehoshaphat, verse 3, remember, this is Israel. This is Israel. A landmass of, well, now it's 60,000 square miles. Not quite that. This is a landmass about, in round numbers, half the size of Louisiana. All right? And that's about how big it is. And look what you've got coming. You see, look what you have coming. This would be like Lubbock and Amarillo joining together and all marching on Matador. That'd be about the same thing. All the men in Lubbock and all the men in Amarillo, and then all the men from Childress all marched on. All the men. Darren, you're not from Matador, so you're out of this one. Okay. So, okay. I know you're anxious and want to be a part of this, but you're not. Okay. So all of these men from Childress, which is what, about 7,000, all the men from Amarillo, all the men from Lubbock, they all march on Matador, on all the men of Matador. And don't you know, if that was in reality true, that we would be crying for help? We would. And that's what he's doing. I want you to see the picture. All right? Remember that Israel they had split off. And Assyria had gobbled them up. And so we're talking about 2 tribes left, what we're calling Israel. All right, 2 tribes. And Jehoshaphat feared. Well, I guess so. And he set himself to seek unto Jehovah, and he proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. And Judah gathered themselves together to seek help of Jehovah. Even out of all the cities of Judah, they came to seek Jehovah. So here's a national crisis for this little bitty country. All right? For this little bitty country. And Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Judah and Jerusalem in the house of Jehovah before the new court, and he said, here's his prayer, O Jehovah, the God of our fathers, art thou not a God in heaven, and art thou not ruler over all the kingdoms of the earth? So basically his question is, aren't you the one who is really in charge? So he said he is the God of heaven and he is the God of earth, of all the nations of the earth. And in thy hand is power and might, so that none is able to withstand thee. Didst not thou, O our God, drive out the inhabitants of this land? So they are remembering Joshua's campaign when it looked hopeless for Joshua. So he's using that as a background study in this prayer. And you were Abraham's friend, and they dwelt therein and have built thee a sanctuary therein for thy name. He's saying, look, we did what you wanted with the Canaanites. We've even built you a church house, God doesn't dwell in temples made with hands. But he's saying, now look, we've been in this together. If evil come upon us, the sword, judgment, or pestilence, or famine, that's the 4 sword judgments. Remember that from the book of Ezekiel. You already know that. We will stand before this house and before thee, for thy name is in this house, and cry unto thee in our affliction, and thou wilt hear and save. Now there's the confidence right there. We know you're going to do it. And he says, and now behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom thou wouldest not let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, but they turned aside from them and destroyed them not. Behold how they reward us to come to cast us out of thy possession. See, he's saying, this is your house, God, which thou hast given us to inherit. O our God, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us, neither know what we to do. But our eyes are upon thee. And all Judah stood before Jehovah with their little ones, their wives, and their children. So they're waiting on an answer from God. They're waiting on an answer from God. And so God sends his man. You read in the book of John, it says there was a man sent from God. His name was John. He wasn't the light, but he came to bear witness of the light. And here's God's man. Look what he says. Thus saith Jehovah unto you, fear not ye, neither be dismayed, by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. You see that? And he tells them again down in verse 17, you'll see the salvation of Jehovah, O Judah and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Jehovah is with thee. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and Judah and all the inhabitants of Jehovah fell down before Jehovah, worshiping Jehovah. And the Levites and the children of the Kohathites and of all the children of the Korites stood up to praise Jehovah, the God of Israel, with exceeding loud voice. There's the sons of Korah singing praise to God. All right? Now let's go into the psalm. Now you see the background. Now you understand why this came to be a song of victory. Because there was the terrible struggle, and now, after that, this is one of the songs that goes into the deal, you know. And we do songs like that. We have national songs like that. Brad has got me put in as the speaker at Oklahoma Christian on Veterans Day, Christian College, and, you know, the big deal up there for them. And I'm to go up there and speak. And he said, he told me, you know, about the attitudes of these young people and all that. And he said, what's going to be your theme? I said, there's an old song. He said, what's a song? And I said, there's a star-spangled banner waving somewhere. That's going to be my theme. You remember that song? Yeah. There's a star. It was sang during the early years of World War II, before 1943, before we, in late 43, we said, we've got this, we're going to win it. But before that, we didn't know. And all those people that were being ground under, they sang, there's a star-spangled banner waving somewhere. We may die here, but somewhere our flag's flying. That's the thing. See, that's what this psalm is. It's a song like that. It's a song like that they can sing because of victory. They can sing because of victory. Now look at this. Oh, clap your hands, all ye peoples. Shout unto God with a voice of triumph, for Jehovah Most High is terrible. He is a great king over all of the earth. He subdueth people under us, and nations under our feet. You see, the people of God can sing that. And he chooseth our inheritance for us, the glory of Jacob, whom he loved. That's the people of God. Remember, Jacob's name was changed to what? Israel, the people of God. All right? And so, and then he said, God is gone up with a shout, Jehovah with a sound of trumpet. Before you can go up, you must what? Go down. Because you can't go up unless you're at a lower elevation, right? So, God has come down. God has helped them. And now he's gone up with the cry of victory. And so, when Jehoshaphat prayed, and the man of God said, it's going to work. And then after the battle, Jehovah has gone up because he was there with him. What did the Lord promise in Matthew 28? You go to all the world and you preach, and I'm going to do what? I'm going to be with you always, even to the end of the age. All right? So this is the same type thing. The same type thing. Sing praises to God, sing praises. Sing praises unto our God, sing praises. It's trying to open your mouth and let the bubbling in your heart out. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. You see, open your mouth and let it come out. Sing praises. Why? Because God has come down, the victory is achieved, and He's gone up with a great shout. For God is the King of all of the earth. That's what we saw in the prayer. That's why we sing. That's the why. Why do we sing? Because God is the King of all the earth. Sing ye praises with understanding. Remember what Paul said to the brethren at Corinth? He said, I'll sing with the understanding, and I'll pray with the understanding. Paul borrowed that concept, not only from inspiration, but it's been written before. Okay? God reigns over the nations. God sitteth upon His holy throne. The princes of the peoples are gathered together to be the people of the God of Abraham. For the shields of the earth belong unto God, and He is greatly exalted. And so the protection that God gives us, our shields, and y'all know what a shield is, the battle shield. It was to protect the person with the shield. All the ancient armies carried shields. Our soldiers today wear now what's called body armor. We have shields put up to deflect different things, and my goodness, we understand what a shield is. For the shields of the earth belong to God. He is greatly exalted. And so there is the protection that you and I have. There is the morale factor that we have. And so we've given you the background of the psalm, that it was a desperate time when they were outnumbered, I don't know how many to one, but a little bitty nation, and they were about to be overrun in slaughter. They prayed to God, and God saved them. And with that understanding, this psalm became the voice of praise and jubilation, and they sang it when they went up to offer the different offerings at the feast of ingathering, when they brought everything back. Sure, it's a victory song, and sure, it's a victory over battle enemies in battle, but it became the ascension song, 3 of them, 46, 47, and 48. And it's all right, brethren, to sing and enjoy the wonder of God's deliverance in our lives. It's all right to do that. It's all right to be happy. You know, it's all right to smile and enjoy God's deliverance and enjoy being together. Look at the excitement in this moment as they're going up and praising God, because He has saved them, and now that their fields have brought that which is good, they just can't contain themselves. They say, open the songbook. We're going to sing a song of praise. And that's what they do on the way up. Appreciate your attention. The kids are in.